So first, let me get this right because I'm not sure, but I'm just guessing right now. Your name, the real name is Stan de Longeaux.
De Longeaux, yeah.
De Longeaux. See, I had it right. I had it right.
Yeah.
So Stan, you grew up in France.
I was born in France. I lived there for like 10 years.
Oh, you lived
And
there only 10 years.
yeah, then I moved to Switzerland.
Oh, but you moved to the French part of Switzerland.
Ich spreche Deutsch auch.
Sprichst auch Deutsch.
Yeah.
But so did you move to what part of Switzerland?
Lausanne, yeah, the French part.
The Lausanne. Okay.
Yeah.
So why the move to? Wait a minute. 10 years. So with 10 years you moved to France. So your parents moved.
Well, actually, when I was born, my parents were living in Nigeria. So I lived there when I was very, very like tiny. I don't have any memories, but because my dad was doing import-export, like of cacao, coffee, rice, that kind of things. And then we moved back to France. And then when I was 10 years old, my parents, they moved to Switzerland for his job, for my dad's job. And so we followed him to Switzerland.
So would you say you most of your childhood you spent in Switzerland or in France?
Like my teenage years, it was in Switzerland.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So and how did you? Okay, tell me. So were you into sports in Switzerland?
Yeah, I mean, I always played sports since a very young age.
Okay. What was your choice of sports in Europe?
I mean, it evolves. Like, so I played like the basic soccer, tennis, and stuff like that. But then I got really into in judo, and I was really into fencing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my master was a world champion in 1994 with the French team. So that was like when I was really young, that was what I was doing. I almost actually stayed in France when my parents moved to Switzerland because they wanted me to go to a special school for fencing.
How does someone get involved in fencing? What's the motivation behind it?
Well, it was kind of like I was probably like 5 or 6, and we were renewing my membership for the jiu-jitsu, and I was looking at the catalog in Paris. You know, it was like Le Valois-Perret. It's like the sport, like a sports place. You know, and I was looking through the catalog, and I saw the fencing, and I was just like really fascinated with it. And like I was showing my mom, and she was like, "You want to do this?" I signed you up, and I just signed up, and I just loved it.
I think that this must be like an expensive sport because you got to buy the whole equipment.
Yeah, but it's not. No, it's not that bad.
No,
I mean, when you're like when you start, you don't have to have your own sword and all that stuff. And then when you do, it's not that bad. No, I don't recall it to be very expensive.
Did you ever do any tournaments?
Yeah, I've done like
Oh,
when I was
really?
like very young. When I was 8 years old, I won like it's called the basically the future challenge, like the upcomers challenge, and I won that at 8 years old.
Wow. So you started real early. When did you stop?
So I stopped a little after I moved to Switzerland
Oh,
because my
okay.
master in Switzerland was not good, and so I kind of like lost the hang of it, and I started like playing basketball, and I loved basketball.
So you just basically just about everything.
Yeah.
Any sport that was available.
Yeah,
I don't know where I saw it or heard it, but somewhere I think I read that you started training in your bedroom.
Yeah.
So that's a true story.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Tell me about this. How this happened, and at what age?
So I was when I turned 18, I asked for Christmas. I asked for like a bench and some weights, and I didn't want to be one of those guys that just sign up for a gym and just pays a membership and doesn't use it. So I just wanted to start, and I started researching about it, and I just liked it a lot. So like every day I would just pull up the bench, set up everything in my room, and train every day. And after like about a year like this, I decided I'm committed enough, so I'm going to join a gym.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of like a story that, well, I didn't start in my bedroom, but in the basement, we had 2 dumbbells.
But my bedroom was in the basement.
Oh, okay. So then you signed up for a gym, and then you got serious into with bodybuilding. So that was all still in France, right?
No, that was in Switzerland.
I mean Switzerland. That's what I'm trying to say. Yes. So
Yeah, when I was 16.
so you signed up for gym membership. When did you realize that this might be something that you want to do?
I mean, I loved it. You know, like when I was playing basketball, I started lifting a little bit. Like we had access to a gym in the with the team, and like my dream was to play in the NBA. And like the big difference between like American like NBA players and like the European players is that they were physically like much more like developed. So that's like that's what one of my motivation to begin with.
So the Europeans are more developed, you say?
No, Americans.
Americans, okay.
Yeah, because they incorporate like weightlifting. In Europe, it wasn't that much of a thing. They were more like focusing on the fundamentals and like playing basketball and stuff like that, but not much weightlifting involved. And in the US, you know, like guys like
how tall are you?
I'm just 5'10".
5'10".
Yeah, but I could dunk the ball and everything.
Yeah, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started bodybuilding in the gym, and when did you realize that this is something that I want to do? I want to compete. I want to be a competitor. I want to get
But when
on
I
stage.
started like lifting, like I wanted, it was just like purely aesthetic. Like I stopped playing sport. Like I didn't have time for that anymore. So my only reason behind like training was like I want to shape my body. So then I started researching, and I stumbled across bodybuilding because that's what we do. And I started becoming like really fascinated with it.
What year range are we talking right now?
2006.
2006. How old are you now? Are you still that young?
Right now I'm 34. I turned 34 10 days ago.
Still a baby, yeah. Okay, so you researched bodybuilding. Who was any bodybuilders you looked up to at that time?
Well, at the time it was Jake Cutler. Like he was he just won the Olympia. And but like I was, I just really liked, Bob Paris, Francis Benfato, and like I was kind of like learning how to really like find my taste with bodybuilding too, because I was fascinated with the monster, like Ronnie Coleman, Jay. There was like the big battle that was like on the headlines everywhere. Like I was reading like on the board, there was like a big forums and like Dave Boulay.
Yeah, of course, Matt Max.
Yeah, Dave Max. So he was like writing on the French board, and like he was sharing his life in Venice and the pictures with Jay and all the behind the scenes.
Oh, right.
So I was just like, I love this. I was like, what I want to do, I want to live that same life. Yeah.
So, and you basically started in Switzerland and listen and watch the boards, follow Dave Bollet's board, and he's French too, isn't he?
French Canadian, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then when did you decide to leave Switzerland?
Well, so like it was 2011. They came up with the men's physique division.
Right.
After like 5 years, I had been lifting, and I was just like starting to think about competing. I was like, yeah, that could be a cool challenge, And in 2000, they started being on the news, in the Flex magazine, Men's Muscle and Fitness. People at the gym would see that, and like I was leaning out, so they would like look at the those guys on Jeremy Buendia, Mark Antony, like Stadi Katsovich, all these guys, and they were like my friends in the gym. They were like, hey, you kind of look like this, you could do that. And so I kind of like people kind of encouraged me. So yeah, in 2013, I decided to do my first show.
Wow.
And then there was like at the same time as I was graduating from college, and I was like, now I'm done with this, I just want to give this, like I want to give a shot to like do a show. And I did Muscle Mania. I got third place in men's physique. And then I decided to celebrate my graduation. I wanted to come to the US for 5 weeks, because I came to the US in 2010, just before I started college. And I loved, like I was, in LA, I just felt at home. So I was like, my dream was to come back here. Like I really wanted to move here and live there, but I had no idea how I would make that happen. So when I graduated, I decided to come back just to spend like 5 weeks. But then when I came back, like the first day when I came back, I saw Jack Cutler at the gym, like I was training legs, and he came like, next to me, and he was like, oh, how many more sets do you have? I was like, well, we can work in together,
That was the first time you met him then?
That was the second time, because I met him the last day when I was here in 2010.
Okay.
So it was the last day I was in LA, I met him, and the first day when I came back, I ran into him again. It was kind of funny. And so yeah, we kind of like trained alongside each other for the whole time. He was shooting a video with Dave. He was shooting for MD, I think, back then. And then at the end, like, Dave was translating everything. I couldn't really speak properly in English at the time. And at the end of the workout, Jay took a picture with me, put it on Twitter, and he's like, "Good luck for your show," and that's how it started, kind of. Yeah.
What a way to get started here in the U.S. Then,
Yeah.
huh? So
Yeah, and then,
is that?
and then like, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's just that I was supposed. So I came here. I came to LA. It was like beginning of November 2013, and I was supposed to come back just before Christmas to Switzerland. And like while I was there, like I met a guy who wanted to sponsor me to do the Arnold Classic. And so I decided to extend my stay because I had like a 6 months visa. So then I had until like April to leave. And then so like Jay heard that I was staying longer. So then he asked Dave like if I want to help him out for the LA Fit Expo. So I came to help him during the weekend at Fit Expo and like spent more time with him and like got to meet other people. Like in the meantime, I met a few people, through Dave and like Gold Gym and like Dexter Jackson, like Mark Anthony, who was like the Mr. Olympia at the time in men's physique. And so I ran into Mark Anthony again at the Fit Expo. And at that time, then it was decided I was going to do the Arnold Classic. And my biggest thing is like, I didn't know how to pose really. And he was like the champ. So I asked him like some pointers and he was like, just, come to Vegas, spend some, a few days with me. I'll teach you. So I came to his house and spent like, 5 days or something with him. And he showed me how to pose properly. And then I went to the Arnold Classic and got my pro card.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So then I never went back. I stayed in the U.S.
So you never went back home?
No. The first time I went back, I think it was 2016 for an expo.
What about your parents? What did they say?
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
I mean, they saw I was happy, but yeah, that was not really like what they envisioned when I first left.
That dude just say, I'm going to be back in 5 weeks. And then 3 years later, you come back to visit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's funny. So now you're in the U.S. with a green card or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm green card holder.
So now you turn pro. So now, did you start competing in men physique as a pro too, or did you switch?
Yeah. No, I started because that was 2014. So I started competing in men's physique, 2014, 2015, and then 2016 I still did a couple shows in men's physique, and then they came out with the classic. 2016 was when the classic physique came out.
Right.
2016 was the first year. So I was going to do the first show that was in LA, in Culver City. That was the first ever classic, when Stan McQuay competed, Danny Hester. But last minute, my sponsor wanted me to do like still men's physique. So I was on the list for classic physique show. But I decided to do the Phil Heath Classic. I think it was in Dallas.
Was it the Phil Heath? Was it Houston first?
Where?
Houston?
Maybe. I remember it was in Texas. I forgot where. So I did the Arnold Classic in men's physique. I think I got 11th or 12th. And then the following week, I think that was the following week or 2 weeks later, instead of doing my first show in classic physique, I decided to do the Phil Heath Classic. That was my last show in men's physique.
Okay. And then you made the switch to classic. Is that because you wanted to pose, or you just felt that your body is something that can get much bigger than men physique?
It's funny because I asked a few people, I asked Jay like what he thought if I should do classic, and everybody's like, no, just stay in men's physique, But like I had legs, and I want to do something, I want to do more. Like I just, and I want to keep improving. And I thought like, I want to give this a shot. I was like, it's a new division. Like nothing is decided. It's shaping up. Like it's a good opportunity to like jump into this and like see what I can do. And my first show, I think I got 6th place. And then I did a second show right like 2 weeks later, and I got 2nd. So right away, because in men's physique, my best showing, I got like one of the last show I did, I got 5th. It was my first time working the top 5. Mm-hmm. That was the Ferrigno Legacy in 2015.
Did you win a show somewhere in San Marino, I think?
Yeah, I won San Marino and South Korea Asian Grand Prix.
But that was a classic. Yeah. Oh, okay. So
that was Boston Classic. That's why I went to the Olympia twice, 2018 and 2019.
So what made you why did you switch from classic to open bodybuilding then if you had success in classic?
Well, it's simply because during the prep for the Olympia 2019. First of all, when I started my prep, I was like 270 pounds, and I was working with Chris Aceto, and we were about 10 weeks out, and I was like basically almost like stage ready, and I was still like 230, 235, and my weight limit is 207.
Oh,
So, so Chris one day he asked me, like, I sent him my updates, and he's like, "What's your weight limit again?" I'm like 207. I was like, "It's the last time we're doing this. We can't make weights like that. You know, it's too much muscle to lose." So we got ready for the Olympia. I ended up like once I broke under like 215 or so, it's like I'd lost my pop and like it just didn't look as good. And then the following week after the Olympia, there was a show in Italy, bodybuilding show, and I decided to just do it. So like in between the two shows, I just ate, and I went back up to like 228, and I was on stage at 228. Like I was probably the most conditioned guy on stage at that show.
that's crazy. That's mostly the reason for people to switch, because they have a hard time making weight. You know,
For me, it was not even just a hard time, because I mean, I have a fast metabolism, so making the weight is easy, but I just really didn't feel good. Like when even I started eating after, I felt like the blood pressure, you know, drinking, all that stuff. It was just something is not right.
Yeah.
And also I felt like my physique was still benefiting from like getting bigger. I was improving as I was getting bigger.
Yeah. What, so your first open bodybuilding show, was that was last year?
No, that was the week after the Olympia 2019. I did Classic Physique. I got top 10. And then the following week, I did a show with Rolly Winkler, Nathan DeAsha, Lucas Osladil, and I got 6 at that show.
Okay. Wow. So okay. Because I remember you competed, didn't you compete in Reno last year after the Olympia?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got 7th there. But I was ahead of like Cedric McMillan, Max Charles. But I competed the year before, the California Pro in Vegas, and Max Charles was 2nd there. So I'm like, you know, slowly like, you know, moving up.
So what's the goal for 2022?
2022, my goal is to qualify for the Olympia. But right now, like, you know, I just competed at the end of the year. So I'm going to take like the next 6 months to grow and like make, you know, put on some other, like more size and in the right spot. And then we'll see what show I can do before the cutoff date.
How much do you weigh right now? Because you look pretty big.
Right now I'm just 265. I just started my off season like last week.
Just 265, like this.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just 265. Like I'm on the low side right now.
well, I mean, I have room to grow. Yeah.
So you want to choose a show at the end, towards the end of the year, or
I'm
summer?
I'm probably gonna do the Legion again. You know, the Legion Sports Fest, because it's in Nevada where I live now. And it's a good show, and I really like enjoy like the production of this show with Chris Means. I think he does a great job, and it's like easy for me to do, and it's still like qualifying for 2022. So I'll probably do this show and then see around those days like what's available and when I'm ready, and decide from there.
Yeah, well, that would be something else. If you qualify for the Olympia, that means you qualified in three categories. Did you qualify in the men's physique or just classic? Just classic.
Yeah.
But at least two categories you qualified for the Olympia. You know, that's not a lot of people can say that.
No, I mean, I think there was Johnny Sebastian who did the men's physique, classic physique, and 212. I think I'm the only pro who went men's physique, classic, and open bodybuilding.
Yeah. Wow. Now let me talk about something else. You came to be Shawn Rhoden's training partner. When exactly?
When we started training, really all the time, it was 2016.
Yeah. So tell me, as somebody that's coming from Europe, and you know, knowing these guys from magazines or Jay Cutler, like you said, meaning now ending up training with Shawn Rhoden, who ended up winning the Olympia in 2018. What was that like?
I mean, for me, it was funny because it was like just my dream come true. Even like when I first started training with him and I went to the Olympia with him, it was like, you know, when I was on the boards and watching Dave sharing the behind the scene with Jay, you know, leading up to the Olympia at his house, you know, like the days are like all that stuff. I got to experience it myself with Shawn. And I was a huge fan of Shawn. Like I thought he was going to be the next Mr. Olympia. I thought that for a long time before he actually won it. So for for me, it was just like when I was watching those boards and I was seeing what Dave was posting, I was like, I want to experience that, and then I get the chance to do that. So it was kind of it was very like it was amazing just to be able to like have a dream and just like actually end up like making it happen somehow.
Yeah, I mean, everybody who knows Shawn, or everybody who knew Shawn, knew that he was a little bit reserved in the beginning. Or if you don't really know him, he's not arrogant, but he's reserved. He's a little bit laid back. How long did it take for you guys, for him to kind of like open up? And,
I mean, that's the thing. Like if you don't know him, he's reserved. Otherwise, he's not at all.
Yeah.
But he took, so when I was training at Gold Gym Venice, after I turned pro, like before I used to train later in the day around 5 p.m. And then like after I turned pro in men's physique, I started training earlier. So I was training around the same time he was training with Charles. So we would, we'd talk after the workouts, and chat. And then I realized that there was a whole other side of him. He was actually a really, really funny guy. And I was like, it's too bad people don't get to see that, because he was always posting like stage pictures with quotes. That's all he was posting on social media. And I'm like, it's so much more, about him and that people don't know about. So I decided to start, when I was resting between my set, I started like filming him, getting some, footage and pictures and just creating like some different content for him. And then since I've started doing this, we started, chatting more, spending more time together, and, slowly just, starting building a friendship. It took probably, when you start really opening up to me, it's after probably the second Olympia together, like after 2017. But 2017 was extremely special too, because he moved to Santa Barbara, in 2017. So we would train in Oxnard, halfway in between LA and Santa Barbara. So Psycho Fitness and myself would drive like an hour and some every day to go train with him.
One way?
Yeah, one way.
Wow.
So we would like meet at the Gold Gym around 6 in the morning.
Why did he move away there though? Why did he move away?
It was for his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Because Michelle was living there. Her whole family was there.
Okay.
So to be with his daughter, he decided to move there. He bought a house over there and moved there.
Okay, so you guys drove every day, like hour or even more than an hour, just to train.
Yeah, it was like 2.5 hours each way, both like total, usually.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's dedication right there.
Yeah, but it was awesome. We
Yeah.
would like meet at 6 a.m. and with Psycho and just go drive there and then come back around noon.
Oh, so you leave there early in the morning. You leave
Yeah.
like before the rush hour.
We usually we were just avoiding it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we were coming back, we would hit some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because then after he was training Shawn in Oxnard, like Psycho was training Dexter at noon at Goals. So it was always a rush to come back.
So you had to come back so you could train
Yeah.
that. Wow, that's crazy. I think I've heard that story before. I just didn't know exactly which way it was. So when did it get to the point where you guys started moving in together, like roommates?
Well, that's more recent.
Yeah.
Because when COVID, like before COVID, Shawn moved to Oxnard actually. To be closer to his daughter, but still not too far from LA. So he moved out there. And then when COVID hit, I decided to move to Chicago. So I was in Chicago for like about 10, 11 months. And then like when I was going to move to Chicago, I was thinking of moving to Boca to like be at, around the Dragon's Lair and Flex Lewis gym. And when I reached out to Flex, he had decided that he was going to move to Vegas, but he hadn't told anyone yet. So he was like, come check it out first, maybe,
Yeah.
So it just didn't seem like the right move. So when I had an opportunity to move to Chicago, I just went there. And then when Flex opened the gym here in Vegas, Shawn was like, I'm moving to Vegas. So I was like, okay, let's do it.
What was the reason behind moving to Vegas? Is it because California got too expensive?
It's not necessarily expensive.
The restrictions?
The main reason was just like bodybuilding, just being around other like-minded people, just being able to, it was more like the grind, just doing the sports of bodybuilding and the business of bodybuilding. To have like more people around we could like train with, collaborate, create content, and then also save money too. For me at least, because Shawn, he was planning on going back and forth with California to see his daughter every week still. So I don't know how much he actually saved by moving here, but
Yeah. I was just thinking. Yeah. Didn't he buy a house out there right after the Olympia?
where in Vegas?
No, in California somewhere.
Yeah, in Santa Barbara. But he bought it in. That's when he moved to Santa Barbara. I think that was 2017 or end of 2016.
I thought that this was right after the Olympia. He bought that house.
No, he
Oh,
bought it.
okay.
Before.
They bought it before then. Okay.
Yeah, that's why he moved to Santa Barbara in the first place.
Yeah. So if people would ask you, say, what is it about Shawn that we don't know, that people never see? What comes to mind for you if you have to say, give me one or two things about Shawn Rhoden no one knows?
I mean, the people who know him didn't know him. He's a big goofball. He's just always laughing, always joking, always like up to like, well, always eating.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, always eating. But he also like really cares about people. He's always helping people. Always like, I don't know how many people he helped. And like financially to do shows, he would pay for their flights, for their hotel. Like anything he could do, he would never count. He would always like go above and beyond to help people.
How there's a lot of things that interest me, and unfortunately Shawn is no longer with us. But there's a lot of unanswered questions that I mean, for me, the thing is that right now, he can't even clear his name.
That's very frustrating, yeah.
Because this woman, whoever the accuser, she could say whatever she wants to say right now. There's nobody that can prove she's lying anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now you were the closest person to Shawn. I mean, I don't think anybody was closer than you and then Guy, from what I hear. So you guys live together in the same house.
Yeah.
So is there anything that can you clear the air about anything that did he talk to you about what really happened, who this woman was? Is there anything that you could say where that he told you, like, listen, I never did this, this is what happened, I don't know what, I have no idea, I just don't like
He always denied that he did anything with that woman, for sure.
So did he deny there was nothing going? There was nothing going on. There was no sex, nothing. I mean, could it be consensual? I mean, I'm not.
No, but from what he told me, there was no sex at all.
I don't understand. But how would the DNA come up with DNA from him then?
Well, it was just spit, like there was just spit of him.
So the one that there was sperm. That's rumors.
No, the semen, it wasn't his.
Oh, okay. So why would this go so far for them, for the prosecutor in Utah to take this to trial, if that's all they had?
I'm not sure, honestly. Like, I know that after this thing supposedly happened, like, she went in the hall of the hotel and she took picture with Shawn and some other people. Like, she had a photographer with her or something.
Afterwards, after she left his room.
Yeah, after she left his room. And then, so like when the police came by later to his hotel room, like Shawn was just, letting them do whatever they wanted. Then he went back home in California, and he flew back to Utah. I don't know how long later, but not much later, to like do
give a DNA sample.
But no, he was doing a lie detector test. He just like went up, like he was like, I'm willing to do whatever, just clear my name. And even like recently, they like finally got her phone. They were requesting her phone from a long time ago, and she just actually submitted her phone, like, I don't know, 3 months ago, like toward the end of last year. There's a lot of things that's not right with this case, for sure.
Did he know her before?
So what he told me is like, he worked with her at a booth once, that lady. And I don't know, she wanted to do a national show or something, and he had helped her out. He gave her some money to like do for a flight in the hotel or I don't know, to help her for the show. He gave her like, I think it was $500 or something.
Why would he give another woman that is married to someone $500?
He wasn't married, but
she was married though. Wasn't she married?
Oh yeah. I don't know if she was married when he helped her out, but I mean, I assume so. That's what Shawn does. He's paid for so many, like, men or women flight and hotel, and That's Shawn. Like you can ask like Brad, you can ask Sergio, you can ask many people that know him. He's like always wanted to help. He went like above and beyond to like help people like with their shows and bodybuilding in any way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just so many questions that, you know, I never believed he did it because I don't think he has, there's any reason to do that because like at the end of the day, I mean, the girls were after him like flies on shit almost.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no need to rape anybody. But the problem is, you know, that what was she doing in his room?
Well, apparently he never gave her the address or anything. She found that out and she came to bring it because what Shawn told me is like she wanted to thank him for help because he had helped her before for her show by giving her the money. So she wanted to bring him some muffins or something. And she showed up to his hotel. And supposedly her husband dropped her off.
So it was not some photographer.
There was a photographer with her somehow, apparently, yeah.
So the husband dropped her off at the hotel to go drop off muffins for him to say thank you.
Yeah.
See, people don't know that. No one knows what was really going on. Everybody just thought that she came up to the room for whatever reason, and he forced himself up on a woman, which you know, unfortunately we'll never know. It's really sad to hear that there was not even something. You know, I this whole time believed maybe they had, you know, there was something going on. They had sex, and she just chose to say, okay, he raped me all of a sudden, you know?
I mean, yeah, I never saw like, you know, the paper or anything. I just go based off everything Shawn told me.
Right. And of course, I mean, if you guys are the closest people, he'll probably tell you the truth.
I mean, I trust him. Like,
yeah.
I don't see why, like I've seen Shawn in like some situations where anybody else will lose their mind and just lose control and like, you know, could be violent or could just like lose their temper. And I've never seen him lose his temper ever.
I just don't understand if there was no sex or nothing going on, and the semen was from someone else. Why would they charge him?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I don't know enough like about again, I know what Shawn told me. I never seen anything from the case itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what was, you know, holding or not around this case or.
It's just I would really love for this story to come out for people to know what really happened because I don't like people still in the back of their minds thinking that he raped a girl or potentially raped a girl when he really didn't do anything.
But the thing to me, like, that should like a lot of people should think about is usually when there's a case like that, it's not only like a one case, not just one woman. So when one woman come forward, usually hear like many other stories come out, you know. And with Shawn, we haven't heard anything else.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
So that should tell a lot, I think.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not able to clear his name. So that's crazy. That's crazy. So, but what was the mood like after this allegation? You know, the trainings. You know, how did he stay motivated, even though the Olympia prevented him from competing? You know, the loss of sponsors. You know, what was the mood like?
Well, at first he was just upset.
Yeah.
At first he was upset when the news broke down because we were supposed to train that day, and like I was waiting for him and he was not showing up. And then I think Charles Glass called me and he was like, "You haven't seen the news or something?" I was like, "No, what's going on?" Then I called Shawn. I came to his apartment. We talked. He told me like what happened, and then we like. You know, we just like I was trying to like just change his mind. And then we decided to go train to like a private gym, just to like do what we are used to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was weighing heavy on him, that's for sure. But like as the time went by, it was just like Shawn just was doing what he enjoyed, and like even in 2019, like the news broke down, like I don't know, 8 weeks out from the Olympia or something.
Right. Yeah.
And he was like, I think he took a break for, a few days, like a week or two, where he didn't come to Goals to train. But when he was still training and he was still hoping to do the Olympia, like he was ready to do the Olympia. He came to the Olympia ready to step on stage in case like they would let him. So he was always like hopeful. I think that's what kept him motivated. It was just like I think he knew what he didn't do, and knowing that, he was like, at some point, the truth is going to come out, and then they're going to let me. So if that's going to happen, like, before the Olympia, I want to be ready to step on stage. I don't want to miss this opportunity.
Yeah. It's been 3 years.
Yeah.
It's been over 3 years that he was basically, not even able to clear his name. No trial. They postponed. They had COVID. Yeah, it's terrible.
But even like he was supposed to have it in September. They were supposed to have a hearing or something, and he got postponed because they had a lack of staff because of COVID and all that stuff. And it's like, because they were saying it's not a high priority case. Like, so it's like, well, if this is actually a rape, it should be a high priority case.
Right. Right.
So I don't know exactly what they had, but they didn't treat it like a priority for sure.
I think that I believe they didn't really have anything.
No.
They knew that. I think to me, it almost looks like they just wanted to make sure that, to just destroy his name.
Yeah.
Kill his career, which they basically did.
Yeah.
And then didn't have enough. I don't know why they moved forward. They said they will take it to trial. Supposedly when prosecutors do that, they have enough evidence.
Yeah.
But if there was no evidence, it's just, I don't know. It's terrible. It's terrible. And then, did you know that Shawn had a prior heart attack? Were you aware? Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I was one of the 4 or 5 people who knew about it.
Wasn't he scared after that?
Yeah, I mean, the first one he had, he was actually he was on his way to meet with me when I was moving to Chicago the day before, because I drove all the way from LA to Chicago. That's how I moved over there. And the night before, we were supposed to have dinner, and he was on his way, and he didn't feel good. And he thought it was COVID, like he had a hard time breathing and feeling weak. But later on, when he actually had a second heart attack, and he ended up in the hospital, when they asked him, did you have like prior like episodes or stuff like that, they mentioned this case this time, and they were like, yeah, that was the first like small heart attack.
So he had 2 prior heart attacks to the fatal one.
2, yeah.
And
within a few weeks, maybe 6 weeks apart.
So, and the doctors didn't tell him to maybe it would be maybe good to maybe back off and lose some weight and take care of your health.
So the first one, he didn't end up in the hospital. It's the second one, he went to the hospital, and then they realized that he had the first one prior, the smaller one. And then after that, they did blood work. I think he recommended him to like dump some blood, like every 56 days he had to dump blood, and they gave him some medication, and he was good. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly what his doctor told him precisely, but I know he was being monitored, and he was good until like last,
It was just, for me, this would be if I don't know, if I turn back the time right now, and if I would have a heart attack at the age of 40, and I think the first thing that I would do is just back off and try not to have another one, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I mean, especially when I don't know, it's hard. It's I don't want to say too much, It's just it just goes in my head. I'm just trying to ask myself, what was the motivation behind, to keep going and to be that heavy, and then.
Well, that's the main thing. Like, so we can address the elephant in the room. It's like a lot of people say, "Oh, he keeps getting on gear." He was not on gear.
Oh, so he was clean.
Since 2019, he barely had a couple shots here and there, and Shawn was the worst was that he was not consistent. He was always missing shots, even when he was on prep for the Olympia. There was never a guy who abused anything. I mean, I have some books here where his protocols are written. Like most people, people would think it's bullshit,
Yeah. No, I believe that. I believe that in a heartbeat.
I mean, because you're the same. Like you have the genetic,
Yeah, I believe that.
So Shawn, I think I'm not saying like steroids didn't cause anything, I think the effect of the steroids helping him being so big and so heavy had a strain on his heart. But it's not like the abuse of it, or it was not like, that's definitely not, but I mean, some people, they can use them a little bit and have bad side effects, and some people, they can abuse them for years and have nothing. So it's like, that's the lottery. But that he was not like pushing really, like he was training in the gym and eating, but he wasn't like.
Yeah, but if I see, I know people who had heart attacks, not necessarily bodybuilders, and all I know is when the doctors, especially when it was like kind of heavy set people, the doctor would always tell them lose weight. You know what I mean? Don't do too much heavy activity. I'm just thinking that after the second one.
Yeah. I mean, the second one for him is basically one that happened.
So one that was confirmed.
Yeah, that led him to the hospital, and then that was like kind of like could be a wake up call. It's not like he went to the hospital twice because of it,
Gotcha.
And he was kept going. It's like he ended up in the hospital once, and then like they were doing some like investigation, and like they're like, oh yeah, you had an episode prior, like a few weeks ago. That was the first sign of a heart attack.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then like more recently when he actually passed, it was he really came out of nowhere in a sense. He was just feeling sick. He thought he had COVID. He went to do some tests, and he was negative. Like he had a hard time breathing. He had like some headaches, kind of, and he didn't know what it was really.
But if he would have, it's hard to say what he was thinking. I mean, if after hearing what the doctors in the hospital say that, if you go into a point, if you in a way where you start breathing heavy again and you start feeling the same symptoms, maybe if he would have went to the hospital, maybe he would still be with us today.
Well, I don't think it was the same symptoms. I don't think he knew he was having a heart attack, because he was dragging for a few days. He wasn't feeling good,
Oh, okay.
I don't think he thought 1 second he was gonna pass, or that he was having any heart attack. I thought he was thinking he was sick, but like something like a flu or something. And Shawn was like very afraid of hospitals, because that's where his dad was never sick a day of his life. And one time he ended up in the hospital, and when he ended up in the hospital, they told him he's gonna die within 6 months. So he was always scared of hospital, and that's kind of stupid, but like he was afraid of that. It's stupid, like looking back, but because that fear could actually save him. If you go and get checked out, now you actually know what's going on, and then you can address it. He was just, he had this fear of hospitals because of his dad.
Did Shawn's passing change the way you think about certain things?
I'm more careful for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely, it made me think everything through even more for sure. But like even before he passed, I decided to work with Patrick Tuor. And not that Chris Aceto is not good. Like I love Chris, he's awesome. He's a really great coach. It's just that I wanted to have like more, a coach that actually asked for my blood work, and that would, help me take some supplements to help like get the numbers right, and that would help me during my off season. Because before that, like off season, I have a fast metabolism, so I would like not necessarily eat very clean.
Okay.
And over time, like I don't think it's good. So I want to change my approach. And that was like before Shawn passed. I started working with Patrick in July.
Yeah, I have him on next week.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I have him on next week. I talked to him the other day. Yeah, I know Patrick for many years. I mean, he's actually really good at what he does. I remember when he started. He's very, very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff, which is okay, of course, a huge benefit. And listen, I mean, his track record speaks for itself too. So there's nothing you can say.
Yeah.
But
I know you was working with Dennis Wolf back then. I think you were helping him too.
I think he did work with Dennis Wolf for one show. I think it was the New York Pro at one year, which I think it didn't work out too well. But listen, not everybody. You can't make a champion, or it doesn't work with everyone.
Yeah, no, for sure. You have to click with the coach. Like you have to have the same approach. And But Patrick is very knowledgeable, and I love working with him because it's just everything is very tailored and very health conscious.
Yeah, which is important.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, and I think if we could have a message from Shawn right now, I think this message would probably be, make sure you get yourself checked.
Yeah, no, for sure. I did like a week ago, I did my blood work, and this week I'm getting a CT scan. So
You're doing like the calcium score, or
yeah.
yeah. I think that's the most important thing, just to get at least your calcium score, so you see, where you're at. Because at the end of the day, your blood work can be great, and your heart still has issues.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening with Stan de Longeaux in
Nice.
2022. Wish you all the best. Hopefully, hey, listen, you make it to the Olympia. You'll be one of the few guys that make it in different categories. I'm looking forward to it, man.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
And stay blessed, and most importantly, stay healthy, my brother.
Thank you, Dennis.
You're welcome, man. And listen, if you qualify for the Olympia, we'll bring you back on. And next time I want to bring you in the studio.
Sounds good. Not too far.
Yeah, we'll have a new studio soon, and then we'll bring you here and have you in the studio with us.
Awesome. Yeah,
All right, brother.
good. All right.
All right, man. Take care, man. God bless you. Be safe.